The coffee shop at the corner. In this story, you'll see how looking away from what you cannot have keeps your power in your own pocket. Told by Alan, a guy who's been watching people win and lose for 20 years. I want to share the quietest revenge I ever saw, the kind that leaves no scars on you, only on the thing that tried to hurt you. Back when I was bouncing between odd jobs, I worked the early shift at a little coffee shop on 9th Street. Every morning at 6:15, a gray-eyed woman named Mara walked in, ordered the same medium roast, and sat at the corner table facing the window. She never spoke to anyone, but everyone noticed her, because she wore these bright red shoes that somehow made her silence louder. Across the room, another regular, Trent, watched her like she was the last lifeboat on a sinking ship. Trent lived off family money, talked loud, and measured his worth by the price tag on his watch. He decided Myra should talk to him. So every day, he tried a new trick. One morning, he sent her a free croissant. Next day, he switched the playlist to her favorite band, at least what he thought was her favorite band. Then he started leaving notes folded under her saucer. Myra never blinked. She paid for a coffee, drank it, and left. I asked her once, "Doesn't that bother you?" She shrugged. Attention is a coin. Spend it on trash, and trash becomes treasure. Then she walked out. Trent escalated. He bought an entire art display and hung it in the shop just so he could invite her to the unveiling. He told everyone, she'll show if she knows what's good for her. The night of the unveiling came. People crowded in, sipping cheap wine, waiting for the drama. Myra never walked through the door. She showed up the next morning at 6:15, ordered her medium roast, sat at her corner table, and stared out the window as always. The art came down a week later. No one mentioned it again. Trent was furious. He cornered me by the espresso machine. What does she want? I gave her everything I could think of. I fromed milk and kept my eyes on the pitcher. Maybe that's the problem, I said. You thought she wanted anything. He slammed his fist on the counter, then stormed out and never came back. Months passed. One dawn, an older businessman named Hal started visiting. Hal wore plain sweaters and asked questions about the beans. He and Mara ended up sharing the corner table by accident one morning. She nodded, he nodded, and that was it. Next day, he sat there again. They spoke maybe 10 words, all about the weather. Within 2 weeks, they were talking like old friends. No gifts, no declarations, no shows of wealth. He simply matched her calm, and the space between them filled naturally. One rainy Thursday, Hal didn't show. Mara waited an extra 15 minutes, then left a note with her tip. It read, "Coffee tastes better without the noise." She finished her cup, walked out, and we never saw her again. Hal returned the next day, read the note, smiled a small, sad smile, and kept coming for his usual seat. He never asked where she went. He already knew. Watching the whole thing taught me more about power than any book. Trent treated Mara like a prize he had to win. Every reaction he begged forgave her the keys. By refusing to react, she shrank him until he was just background music nobody danced to. Hal treated her like a person he might enjoy. No pressure, no spotlight, no bargains. She met him halfway because nothing was demanded. I kept that lesson when I left the shop and started my own tiny roasting company. Investors tried to lowball me. Competitors spread rumors, landlords jacked rent. I copied Myra. I didn't argue, didn't explain, didn't chase. I focused on roasting better beans and smiling at real customers. The rumors died from starvation. The landlords lost interest when I found a cheaper space. The investors who lowballed me came back a year later and paid double to get in. By then I didn't need them, so I politely declined. Last month I saw Trent downtown, standing outside a closed nightclub, shouting into his phone about someone who owed him spotlight. He looked smaller than I remembered. Across the street, a woman in red shoes stepped out of a rideshare, looked straight through him, and kept walking. He never noticed her, but I did. She didn't smile, didn't frown, didn't speed up. She simply moved on, and the pavement stayed quiet under her feet. Summary: when you answer every bark, you turn yourself into a doghouse. Ignore what you cannot control, and it stays small enough to step over. Save your attention for what lifts you, and the things that once seemed huge will shrink in the rearview mirror.